It's like Dante's Inferno. As we kick off our series here, it is going to be a fresh series on Pride of Altaris LE. We're in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left-hand corner. We have the blue Protoss player sending probes out already. He is coming down from the land of Korea, representing Alpha X. He is, of course, Zoun. Or Joyun.
And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Pride of Altaris LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg, the returning player representing Prep Esports. It is ByuL. And yeah, so far pretty standard openers. I'm very interested to see again how ByuL plays, because unfortunately, Yaku, you and I, there was a pretty long hiatus where we weren't covering ESL Cup Asia, and that was just when, you know, ByuL was coming back. So it's like, oh, we haven't seen much from him recently. Like, and I want to see more. I want to see more.
Yeah, he came back at just the wrong time, man.
Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Meanwhile, massive shout out to J Dolph. Thank you so much for the raid. Hey. I hope you enjoyed your stream. J Dolph, he's an Australian streamer, an Australian StarCraft streamer. So again, much love to him, and I hope you enjoyed your ladder session, I assume.
Yeah, welcome Dolphins.
Is that what they called?
I don't know. I just know his avatar on Twitch is a dolphin. So.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, there you go. Yeah, welcome Dolphins, mate. There you go. Why not? Oh god. But yeah,
if I remember what sound dolphins make, I would try to make it right now.
No, don't try it.
Okay.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You don't have to do that. You're gonna save the ears of everyone in the chat. But for some context for this series, the winner of this series will go on to face ByuL.
I'm kind of rooting for ByuL just for the ByuL memes, but you know.
Yeah, it would be great, to be honest. It'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how ByuL will do against, you know, a player who is a little bit more established at the moment, a player who didn't have to go on a hiatus and go to the military. So yeah, we'll see if ByuL can take it to a player like Zoun, especially in this matchup. I honestly, I think now is a really good opportunity to shine, just because it's a new map pool, right? So
yeah,
a bit more of an even playing field.
Definitely, we really get to see how quick some players are to adapt to a new map pool, how quickly some of them are able to discover the intricacies. But on the flip side of that, as you were saying, it doesn't matter as much, right? If you have been playing for a long time, or if you've just been returning. It's a clean slate.
Yeah, exactly. It would be the best, like the cleanest of slates if there had been a patch, like a balance patch. But
ouch.
Yeah, just a new map pool, which is as close as possible. And One day. I mean, at the moment, Zoun, he's just opening up pretty standard Stargate opening into a Void Ray, but with an Oracle follow-up.
Yeah, so not going to be, you know, going across the map immediately with his Void Rays, just utilizing it for map control.
Yeah, that he is. Meanwhile, ooh, ByuL going for a very fast Evo chamber hidden here in the back of the mineral line. So, mate, I'm feeling +1 melee.
I mean, it's gotta be, right? We've seen it a lot in the recent weeks as a solution from Zerg players, especially on the newer maps, like the smaller maps in particular, like Kaliningrad and Curious Minds. They're like, you know what? I'm kind of sick of doing Queen Marches every time. Let me just kill you before you can get your Sky Toss out.
Exactly. It's gonna take a while for +1 to kick in, but again, with this, like Ling run-bys, Baneling run-bys, they're gonna do so much more damage. This will be the solution for ByuL to try and keep Zoun not just on 3 bases, but also to keep harassing the mineral lines.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily have to, you know, Baneling bust through into the natural yet. So you're saying he can just continue to attack mineral lines with his Zerglings.
That he can. Meanwhile, the Oracle does finally go across the map, but there's not much damage to be done. Instead, he scouts, he tags the Evo chamber, he sees it, he is now well aware of it, even sees the timing of the lair.
Yeah, recognizes that it is fairly early, but because of that, shouldn't have to worry about any roaches coming out anytime soon. Any roaches or Spire, really.
Yeah, exactly. And now that means that Zoun is free to just get into his Void Ray production, throw down his cannons at some point. I believe he does have a forge. Yeah, he does have a forge. Ooh, but he's actually investing into +1. Like, he still wants a ground army.
Yeah, again, another potential Goldilocks composition coming out from Zoun. But if he is given enough time, he will have both a very effective defensive force and a very effective offensive force.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little bit surprised how aggressive ByuL is being here with his queens. I don't see a queen walk happening, but you know, going all the way into the center of the map, very bold of him, very bold. And again, I guess he has to if he wants to try and keep this 4th base up and running and actually sneak out this gold.
Yeah, it's the only way he can really stem the tide of the Void Rays.
Yeah.
He's still got a lot of +1 lings, but they're not really going to do much against the Void Rays. ByuL needs to do this with his queens.
Oh god, and this is what I'm a little bit concerned about because the Void Rays are rotating around. ByuL does catch whiff of this, and again, he has to rotate his queens over. Otherwise, the Void Rays will just right-click on the base.
And they want to more than anything. But there's a wall of queens stemming the tide.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to find an angle, but the queens are all here in position every single time to protect this space and make sure the Void Rays deal no damage.
And just like that, ByuL is getting away with that gold base.
Yeah.
Or he's starting to mine.
Exactly. And this is going to be the great thing about this map specifically, right? Typically, like, going late game ZvP can be very difficult, but because this map has this gold base and because there are so many minerals available to it, like, it does give an advantage to the Zerg, and it does allow them to try and go toe-to-toe against Skytoss.
Especially with pathogen glands infestors.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have Ling Bane, we're gonna have Infestors. What's interesting is that Zoun is transitioning completely into ground toss. He stopped Void Ray production a long time ago, and he didn't throw down a fleet beacon, which was very interesting to me. If he wanted to, he had the opportunity to try and go into the carriers, but no, he's going Charge the Archon.
Yeah, he'll probably throw it down eventually if the game goes on long enough, but yeah, I feel like he's kind of had enough of dealing with those queens. That said, Chargelets and High Templars especially can be very, very vulnerable against all these banelings that ByuL is making. Zoun really needs to make sure that the Archons are in position to tank those.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately for ByuL, he only just now gets eyes on this. He does have a lot of queens and Ling Bane. Are the banelings going to be able to connect though with those zealots? And they do not.
Yeah, they get a sentry, which is alright. It does mean that Zoun won't have any more force fields available, but does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? Look at how much army he's got on the ground.
Oh my god, but the static defense is coming into play. The Spine helping out so much. Zoun cannot break into this 4th base. He's trying to desperately, and in the end, he actually decides to split off his zealots.
And might as well get some damage elsewhere, but already ByuL is able to split off his Lings and Banes to meet that. Zoun is finding not many openings, not any openings, really.
Yeah, exactly. Every single time the Ling Bane is there. Meanwhile, Baneling speed just finished up for ByuL. Now he can chase this down. He's still going to struggle because, again, so much of his DPS are in queens, and like moving off of a creep is difficult. But you know what? He defends. He holds onto the gold.
He does. That cannot be underestimated.
Yeah.
With all that economy, we really see him exploding when it comes to his production. He's getting all the upgrades he needs. He's producing 11 Mulists, and Ultra Cabin just finished up as well.
Yeah, the tech just has not stopped here for ByuL. Again, +3 on the way. Adrenal Glands, Ultras, as you were saying. And Zoun, he's feeling the pressure right now. It's so interesting how this game has played out, because instead of sitting back and going Skytoss, because ByuL took the gold, Zoun felt pressured to go for an earlier attack instead of staying back home. Finally, he's looking to go into Skytoss, but it's a little bit late here, and ByuL is going to be the first to max out.
He really is, isn't he? And he's going to utilize that max out. Adrenal Glands is about to finish up. He's moving up with his Lingbane, or at least getting them in position. Mutalists are mostly just here to get some workers here and there.
Yeah, you know what? 8 workers go down immediately. Oh no! The Archons do push this away. A very solid shot on those mutas, but the mutas just barely survive.
And just continue to be threatening. Forces out to position a couple Archons where the cannons can't reach. In that time, with that opening rather, ByuL's moving out with his Lingbane.
Yeah, exactly. He was trying to go for a bit of a run by, but he does run into Zealots. So again, his hand has been revealed. Ultras are about to finish up with Kindness Plating, and with these Ultras, he can inefficiently push into one of these bases and just try and kill a Nexus.
It can be especially inefficient as, again, that gold base is still saturated.
Yeah, and again, with 8 mineral patches, there's so much economy coming in here from ByuL. Just look at that graph. It is deep in the red, deep in ByuL's favor here for the entirety of this game. He still doesn't have the perfect army, especially to deal with Skytos, but he's just been doing so well harassing, and I feel like that's his goal here at the moment. Oh,
yeah, he really just wants to draw the army into the most compromising position possible. Waiting for his upgrades to finish up. He's even getting Greater Spire.
Yeah.
To play Zerg Bingo.
He's basically getting ready to like run with his Lingbane Ultra, kill a base, lose a bunch of supply, and switch into Corruptors. Like that's the plan
Corrupted
here.
Broodlord.
Yeah, Corrupted Broodlord, exactly. We'll see if he can make it happen. Because he doesn't want to lose too much too quickly, right? He wants to dive on top of the Disruptors. Up!
Oh, a couple of Purification Novas do land on top of a whole bunch of Links and Banes, but not on top of the Ultralisk, and they break on forward. 30 Lings are on the way to reinforce this, but does ByuL even need that? Yes, he does. Because there's still a lot of cannons and a lot of Void Race.
Yeah, Overcharge is pretty good, mate. So this third base does hold strong, but not this fifth. And the Queens are coming in. And again, it was so great for ByuL to trade like this and then remake those Corruptors, and now even Broodlords.
They are slowly going to make their way forward. Corruptors are not going to have too tough of a time with the remaining Skytoss army of Zoun.
Yeah, there's 2 carriers and a handful of phoenixes. Like there is no real pressure for mass Corruptor at the moment. So ByuL is still in a very good position.
Yeah, Vipers are about to finish up, and that just about rounds off the army of ByuL. It's Phoenixes, they're gonna try to get some harassment done.
Oh,
might catch a free Viper? Free Viper. 2 free Vipers? 1 free Viper for its troubles.
Yeah, honestly, a great trade because these Phoenixes are useless right now. So to get a free Viper like that was huge for Zoun. Not just killing the Viper, but also scouting and confirming the tech switch from ByuL.
Yes, sees all these Corruptors on the way. Prompts him to switch back into carrier production.
Yeah, exactly. We have carriers. Some High Templar would be nice. It's one of those things where Zoun unfortunately doesn't have a big bank, so he's struggling to perfect his army. But because of that, he's going to be looking to just stay back, expand horizontally, and wait for the Zerg to push into him instead of being active himself.
Speaking of the Zerg pushing into him.
Oh yeah. Getting ready, mate. The creep has finally gotten across the map. We still have a bunch of queens from earlier. That is the main anti-air. If the carriers get too close, we're going to see some of ducks.
Yeah, some ducks would be brutal right now. The Corruptors, of course, there to provide a little bit extra. Just a little bit of a buffer for these Broodlords.
Yeah, exactly. Overcharge is back off cooldown, but we still need a little bit more energy on this Nexus. Meanwhile, the Broodlords are slowly chipping away at this army, and Zoun can't really do anything about it. Again, if he gets too close, we're going to see some of ducks on these high-tech units.
He just doesn't have the range. Tempests are coming out now.
True.
But only one at a time. Zoun, again, just doesn't have much of a bank. Thankfully, he is maxed out. No, actually, that's a bad thing for Zoun. He needs to switch his army.
He really does. No, the High Templar go down before any feedbacks do connect. And as you said, the Tempests are a great addition, but they're a little bit too late, and there aren't that many of them. Only 2 Tempests, and oh god, it's going to be on ByuL to try and yoink them, to try and deal with them before they deal with the Broodlords.
Yeah, he doesn't really want to send his Corrupted too far forward. Beautiful feedbacks on top of these Vipers. No yoinks are going to be available, and that kind of prompts ByuL to just go forward with everything. He's got the Tempest, I think, I take it out. No, they haven't, but a lot of Void Rays have.
Yeah, that they have. We have some decent transfuses. The Corruptors are coming in. All the Interceptors are gone. So now the Zerg army can start focusing down carrier after carrier. It looks like ByuL is breaking through.
What is one Ultralisk on the ground, man? Chipping away at all of those Stalkers. It finally gets taken out. Is it too late? Maybe not, because we still have a lot of Stalkers. They're trying to blink on top of the Brood Lords. A massive warp in. The Transfuses are on point, though.
They are on point, and everything falls in the end. The Brood Lord stands strong for ByuL, and he takes the first game.
Just like that. Wow.
Wow. GG, well played. The returning, the ex-army vet takes it against the young boy himself, the young general.
Is that what we call? Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a general, man.
Yeah, because he's Joyun.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna call him Zoun.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
Yeah. This is the thing I appreciate about Zoun as well. Since the name starts with Z, I can just scroll down right to the bottom of the whatchamacallit.
Oh yeah, it's the easiest.
Mod.
It's same with ByuL as well. ByuL is at the very top.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, it's beautiful, mate. It's beautiful.
ByuL versus Bjorn is gonna mess me up, man.
Yeah. Gotta make sure
you know I'm gonna misread one of them.
You don't gotta make sure you don't mix them up.
Oh, I'm gonna.
But yeah, that was a great game one. But what I will say is that the way that game played out did very much so have to do with that map specifically.
Yeah, that map and especially that gold base.
Yeah.
ByuL unfortunately trying to go for some a way to counter what he didn't necessarily need to. Regardless, we are going to be continuing our series here on 2000 Atmospheres LE. We're in the top right-hand corner map. Starting all the way in the top right-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is the general himself, representing Alpha X. He is Zoun.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player. He is red, representing Prep Esports. It is ByuL. Like, again, maybe it's because I'm a Zerg player, but the way ByuL played game one was almost like art. Like, you could see like the broad strokes that he was going for, and the overall like picture perfect painting that he wanted, and he got there, mate. He got there. The execution.
Yeah, every move he made, you knew exactly what he was going for. There was nothing ambiguous about it. You knew, why is he getting these many queens, and why is he being this aggressive with these many queens, right? Well, it's because he needs to protect his gold base from the Void Race. It's his only form of anti-air. Why is he getting that gold base? Well, because he wants to be on even economy against his Protoss opponent. Potentially would go to Sky Toss.
And it felt like Zoun was also being like baited into how Zoun was playing as well. Yeah. Because I feel like if Zoun, and I think it's because the map hasn't been played out too much, if Zoun had like approached that game differently and maybe just sat back and gone Skytoss, I think he probably would have had better success. As we saw, like
gold base himself.
Yeah. Like, be a little bit more defensive. I understand the pressure that the Protoss feels when a Zerg player gets a gold. Like, it's like, oh my god, I have to try and deny this, right? And that's what changes the dynamic in Pride of Altaris. Whereas maybe it'll be better if you let the Zerg take it, or maybe, like, I don't know, try and harass with Adepts instead. It's hard to say.
Well, it almost becomes a game of chicken at that point, right? Because on the one hand, as you were saying, you don't want the Zerg player to get a gold base. You don't want the Protoss player to get a gold base either.
It's true.
You don't want him to max out at Sky Toss in like 15 minutes.
Very true. But you could also argue that with Lings, it can be a little bit easier to deny the Protoss space if they're being too greedy, right? If they try and take that gold. But yeah, we'll see how this game goes. Meanwhile, it happened during the previous game, but things were getting a little bit chaotic. Shout out to Steel Mold and Phoenix as well for their resubs. Thank you so much.
Hey, how are we quacking this out? Do we combine the quacks? Or do we separate them?
To combining the quacks would be like 50 plus quacks, mate. It's not happening. It's not happening. But again, thank you so much.
70.
Thank you so much, Phoenix and Steel Mold. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. We've all been a part of the Ducklings for a very long time now. Very long time.
Yeah. Phoenix may have only officially became a member recently, but he was there from the start.
He was there from the beginning, mate. He was a player.
Yeah.
He was part of the original Phoenix meme.
He made the whatchamacallit, the casting tool.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't make it, but he troubleshooted whenever we had issues.
He did. So yeah, much love. They are fellow Ducklings. As ByuL is going for the same opener.
I'm definitely into that. Meanwhile, Zoun is not. Switching things up significantly with Glaive to Depths, and this is very worrisome for ByuL. He is not going to get a Roach Warren out anytime soon because of this opening. He's looking primed to just get every single Zergling and every single drone picked off.
Yeah, honestly, this is great from Zoun. Looking at ByuL's vision, I don't think, ByuL hasn't scouted this at all. He doesn't know what the follow-up is from the initial Void Ray, from the initial Stargate, and because of how ByuL is playing, like, he doesn't have a Roach Warren. Roaches are the ideal unit you need to help defend against Glaive Adepts. Instead, ByuL is going to rely on Ling Bane, and that can be a little bit more risky.
Yeah, it's always a gamble. If the Banelings are able to connect on the Adepts, it is going to be absolutely massive. It just shuts down the Harass in its tracks, but with the Shades and, you know, without a lot of creep, especially with slow Banes, that is a little bit difficult to pull off, to say the least.
It is. It really is, especially when you don't know what's happening. Like, ByuL still hasn't scouted the Twilight Council. For all he knows, it is double Stargate Void Ray again. Or maybe it's like straight into a Twilight Council, or sorry, a Templar Archives for Charge Archon. He has no idea. But we'll see how this will go. Like, at least he did get the Baneling Nest, so he will still have some answer to the Adepts.
And he's connecting his bases. He's still continuing to produce queens, so it's not like he has to insta forfeit once he sees the Shades move in.
Yeah, speaking of, he does see all the Shades move in on the right hand side. The queens are going to reposition. We already have Banelings morphing in here. Oh god, they're going to finish up just in time. Up.
Oh, if they can get on the top of the Shades, they will be able to prevent that. No! He commits to the Shade, but actually it might be fine for Zoun.
Yeah, he did split last minute, but he still took a lot of damage there, so kind of questionable Shade there by Zoun. We'll see if he can pull it off. Again, a couple of drones are going down, but only a couple so far. There we go, he does commit to the Shade into the third base, so the Lings are here.
That they are, and ByuL is able to evacuate most of his drones. The rest of them are in stasis, so they're not going to take any damage either. Only 6 drones have gone down, which isn't ideal, but considering the circumstance, that was, I think, best case scenario for ByuL here.
Oh yeah. There's a world where those Adepts go out of control and they kill an entire mineral line. So ByuL, it's acceptable damage what he has taken. And he has survived, and now he's transitioning out of this. Ooh, he's throwing down a Spire, I imagine, to go for Mutas again. But like, he still needs to scout his opponent. He needs to realize what's happening.
He really does. I guess a lot from Zoun. He is going for Blink Stalkers, which, you know, I feel like initially this was an answer to Ling Bane, right? You don't want to go chargeless against that. But, funnily enough, it's going to work very well against the Spire and the Roaches that Zoun is going to be producing now.
Exactly, we have like a very different game shaping up here for both of our players. Zoun committing to the ground toss style of Blink Stalkers. This does feel a little bit more committed. We'll see if he does try to take a 4th base or he just works towards one giant push. Maybe he can hit a timing. As you said, like, if ByuL invests into mutas are not what he needs right now.
Let me shut down from the sky. He is getting Roaches, which it's going to be a bit tougher against the Sentries and against the Blink Stalkers, but they're still Blink Stalkers. They have a much larger range, much longer range, I should say, compared to Roaches, and you can always blink away when things start to go. Alright, really good force fields so far.
Yeah, unfortunately for ByuL, he didn't see this army until it was in his face. Like, he was trying to fan out and scout, but it was a little bit too late. Because of that, so many Lings are going down for free. This base will go down as well. ByuL, he's trying to hold on, actually. He's coming in with his Ravagers, but I don't know if this is the wisest choice to fight at the 4th.
Yeah, the ByuLs just are not landing. Massive blink forward on top of the entire army. And the Adepts come in to reinforce.
Yeah.
ByuL has the largest supply. Where's that army? Well, mostly in Roach Ravager. It's not exactly the most supply efficient composition.
He actually pulled boys from his 3rd base to help defend, and honestly, I think that's exactly what he needed to do. Because of that, the Roach Ravager is slowly breaking forward. He's trying just barely to hold on. The defense is so close.
Really is. The Queen has 1 transfuse available on it, but it dies before it can land. That 1 Warp Prism is really holding the, it's really keeping up the pressure here for ByuL, but the Roaches and Ravagers is still holding the line.
Okay, the Queens are coming in from the main base and the natural. Finally, they are diving in. He does get 1 transfuse off. We need to see a ByuL on the Warp Prism, but the Disruptor is coming in.
Coming in, but it only connects on 1 single Queen. The Warp Prism is looking very vulnerable. There are enough ByuLs to take it out, but there is still a very quick warp in of Adepts. That said, this is all that Zoun has left to fight in this position.
Yeah.
ByuL has held.
Imagine if ByuL had taken that out before the Adepts warped in, then ByuL would have shut this down. But because of the Disruptor, like, here comes the 2nd Disruptor. Like, Zoun still has a little bit of momentum, and he's actually rebuilding the Warp Prism. He doesn't want the game to go on longer. He wants to end it.
Yeah, but is he going to be able to, is my question. As ByuL has not neglected his army at all. So important for these Lings to be by the 4th base location.
Yeah, exactly. They are denying this 4th base for as long as possible, forcing Zoun a little bit more all in, but there we go. The 4th base has finally been thrown down. Zoun recognizes that he cannot end the game. He is forced to go into a bit of a later one, and the longer this goes on, the better it is for ByuL, because, ByuL, he actually held onto his hatchery. I didn't think he could. I thought he was crazy for trying to defend at his 4th base instead of just giving it up and expanding towards the south, but he's doing it.
He is. The Purification Novas, a couple of them do connect, but is that going to be enough as ByuL started concave on top of his main force? He has, he had enough to split off and fight in 2 locations at once, but that 1 Purification Nova was all that Zoun needed to not necessarily shut that down, but make things a bit more even.
It was a juicy shot, man. I think like 3 Roaches and 1 Ravager went down to that 1 Nova. But the rest of the army was cleaned up. Despite that, though, Zoun, he just keeps up the aggression. He keeps warping in more Stalkers. He has 1 more Disruptor behind this.
Yeah, you could argue that the Disruptor count getting reset is huge. But Blink Stalkers are pretty good, regardless.
Yeah, exactly. We need more Lings. We need more of everything here. ByuL, he also hasn't had the freedom to drone up to really make use of this 4th base. He's struggling to just barely hold on. And as this game goes longer, Zoun, he gets his 4th up and running. Like, depending on his economic situation, he could eventually transition to that Sky Toss.
Yeah, he's going to work on saturating that and continue to produce more and more probes one by one. Another juicy connection. Top of a massive amount of Roaches and Ravagers.
Yeah, bold move for ByuL to go for a bit of a Roach run by, but it doesn't really do anything. We do have a warp in at home. Meanwhile, that was a juicy Purification Nova that we saw earlier. ByuL is trying to dive on top of this, but he doesn't get the Disruptor, so it will be able to reset and get another Nova.
He's gonna try. Hive is on the way though for ByuL. That's honestly a little surprising.
Yeah, that it is, especially because we don't have like a Hydra Den. Like a Hydra Den mixed with a Lurker Den would be insane right now, but we just don't have that tech at all. ByuL is still on Lingbane Roach.
I feel like he's just getting that high for 3-3 potentially. I don't really see what else it could be. Finally, that 4th base goes down. And this is prompting ByuL to go for a little bit of an all-in here.
Well, I mean, what's important is that ByuL just killed both Disruptors. Now it's just Blink Stalkers here against the Roach Ravager. So ByuL can actually catch this army.
They're starting to get sandwiched. A lot of Blinks were already used up. Zoun is trying to blink away, but he's getting closer and closer towards ByuL's units each time.
What's important is that Zoun, he's not just kiting really well, he just went around in a massive circle, bought a lot of time for more Disruptors. Like, pushing into Disruptors is so difficult with this kind of army, and now enough time has passed where another one has been remade.
Yeah, ByuL has to find the best way to bait out that Purification Nova without it actually landing, and he does.
That he does, but now there's going to be another, so again, ByuL has to be so careful. He has to split, but he split!
Oh, he did split, but unfortunately the Purification Nova is still connected with a massive amount of roaches.
Oh,
and
God.
Zoun is keeping up the pressure. I feel like as this fight goes on and on and on, Zoun's going to be able to reinforce and ByuL will not.
Yeah, that he is. We do have a couple of links coming in to reinforce again. ByuL is fighting so well, but another Nova comes out. Oh my God.
Yeah, somehow despite the split, Zoun is able to just lock on to the juiciest mass of roaches with his Purification Nova.
Yeah, again, mate, off creep, Roach Ravager, like it's not a pretty sight. Like Zoun has gotten so many good shots off, and now he has broken through the roaches. He's getting on top of those juicy Ravagers. Finally, some reinforcements are coming in, but look at the supply. Like Zoun, he is just overwhelming ByuL.
Yeah, we're starting to see the effects of all of the pressure Zoun was keeping up throughout the entire game finally come to fruition. Zoun just was never able to get a very stable economy and never able to tech up, right? He was on Roach Ravager for such a long time. There was a point where he was pushing forward, and I think there was really potential for ByuL to maybe kill the fourth base of Zoun and maybe go on from there, but that Purification Nova, man. The Disruptor hiding in the bushes was everything.
Yeah, like there were like maybe 4, maybe 5 really good Novas there in the end. Unfortunately, ByuL was struggling to split up his army against it. Also, a very bold move trying to take up the Hive. I think what he wanted, and it makes sense, instead of going into Lurkers, he wanted to skip and go straight into Vipers to try and abduct the Disruptors, which makes sense, but it just takes a long time to get that Hive up and running. And you could argue that maybe he would never have been able to even make Lurkers if he had decided to take up that direction anyway. Like, regardless of which path, it takes so long to get there.
Yeah. Getting Vipers would have taken a long time, but getting Lurkers would have taken longer, and it would have been more expensive. But there we have it. Now we are going to be concluding our best of 3 series here on Hardwire LE. As a reminder, the winner of this will be going up against ByuL. So what do you want to see more? TVP or TVZ? That is who you should root for. In the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner, the blue Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Alpha X. He is the general. He is Zoun.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Prep Esports. It is ByuL. Very intense game. Last game where once, as you're saying, once Zoun like started applying that pressure, he never stopped until either he kind of let up or ByuL popped, and
until something broke.
Yeah, and in the end it was ByuL.
It was bad, man.
Oh God! Even though Zoun is the younger player, I do want to see ByuL do well here. Like, honestly, Zerg representation in South Korea has never been great, or it hasn't been great for a long time.
It hasn't been great in Legacy, right? Well, yeah, in Legacy, I would say.
Yeah, like sure, we have our top 2 undoubtedly being Dark and Rogue, but after Dark and Rogue, like it does drop off quite a bit. We always talk about this, but Armani and Ragnarok are like the 3rd and 4th best essentially in the region, but they aren't anywhere near as active.
Meanwhile, we have Solar, who is in
I forgot about Solar.
in a bit of a limbo state. Well, I think it kind of makes sense because Solar will either have the run of his life and look absolutely dominant, or he will just be taken out in the round 32.
Yeah, exactly. Like we need some more like I guess mid-tier players to fill things out. Yeah,
Solar hasn't been as consistent. I guess it is a better way of describing it.
Yeah, I would put him at like top 3, solid 3rd place for a while there. But as you said, like there are like peaks when it comes to his performance where he can just like shoot up, you know, depending on the matchup. You know, his ZvP has been awful for a long time now. But when it comes to like ZvZ and ZvT, like yeah, Solar, he's solid though. He's very solid.
Probably one of the most impressive ZvTs I think I've seen throughout 2021.
Very much so, very much so. But we'll see if ByuL can kind of break into that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a meme, I suppose, because of how often he's been nuked. But I still think that regardless, Soul has a really good CPT.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing, right? Like, again, because ByuL only came back, you know, 2 months ago or so, like, I want to see more of his matchups overall, you know? I want to see how he does it against Terran and against Zerg. Here we see him against Protoss, and again, going to the ace match against Zoun, very impressive. I saw Kenny in the chat was saying, like, yo, if ByuL wins this, it's going to be a pretty big upset. It's like, yeah, it will, because, like, Zoun has been on fire recently, so, yeah, already impressing us,
Yeah, you mentioned how when it comes to the top 3 players when it comes to Zerg and South Korea, there's a little bit of a drop-off. Not as much with Protoss. I think Zest and Trap obviously have been the 2 best performers throughout 2021. Zoun, I would say Zoun is a solid 3rd place in that.
Yeah.
Zoun and Parting.
Yeah. Can't forget about Parting, mate. Oh, God. But we'll see. We shall see how he performs here again. We talk about this all the time. Typically, when it comes to Zoun, his PvP is his best matchup, and that's where he shines. Here against Zerg, I mean, we were just told that he did recently 2-0 Dark in World Team League, so a very impressive result there. Can he replicate that?
Zoun has kind of been the Dark Sniper throughout the year, hasn't he, though? Like as early as GSL Season 1, I think.
I would say, mate, Creator is popping off a little bit as well. But
oh, Creator has been popping off quite a bit towards the tail end of 2021.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll see where we end up here. Meanwhile, Zoun did go for a Stargate opener. With this Oracle, he will be able to dip in, and it looks like he will scout this Roach Warren here from ByuL. I like this from ByuL. Fun fact, this is actually the first time this entire series that he is going for a Roach Warren first. Like I should say, a standard opener.
Yeah, which Zoun is more than willing to accommodate with his own center opener.
Yeah. Oh boy. As you just see that double Stargate Void Ray production, we have +1 air attack on the way as well. So this is, again, much more standard, much more of what we would expect in modern day ZvP. And along those lines, what we should also expect is a bit of a queen walk.
And the queens are already walking.
Oh yeah.
We throw down the creep as they can. Get a little bit of highway going. Plenty of roaches have just been produced. Lair not done quite yet. Not going to be... Galabru Constitution won't be here for quite some time, but doesn't really matter when ByuL has this many roaches.
Exactly. Finally, this has been scouted. The Oracle does stumble upon the massive Queen Walk that's coming across the map. The Void Rays have to come back home. There we go. We do see the recall, and now Zoun is in full panic mode. He throws down as many cannons as he can, even cancels some tech so he can have more resources for cannons and shield batteries. Is this going to be in time?
That we shall see. Again, these units are still pretty slow. Void Rays are trying to stem the tide, fighting far off of shield battery range. To be fair, the shield battery's not finished yet, so yes, they may as well.
But you know what? The shield batteries are about to finish up. There's a lot of stacked defense here. ByuL's going to have to make a choice. Is he going to try and break the 3rd or avoid that and try to break into the natural base instead? It looks like he wants to go for the natural. The Biles... Oh, actually, they do not connect with the Adept.
Yeah, that is actually very worrisome. That stifles a lot of the momentum that ByuL otherwise would have. Instead, he goes for the 3rd base. I'm not sure if this is the right call.
Exactly. Overcharges being used, the cannons are done, and as we can see, ByuL is really struggling to find any kind of headway here, really struggling to find any kind of momentum.
Yeah, he's relying a lot on having these Biles land, but they just don't. They've never landed.
Yeah, they finally connected on a couple of shield batteries here. But fun fact, that's the first building that died. Finally, a cannon falls. But as we can see...
Of 59 lings,
Yeah.
5 roaches, 4 ravagers, 3 queens. Yeah.
Yeah, ByuL, he's running out of steam here. Everything is falling. He didn't break through anything, and GG gets called. Zoun takes the series 2-1.
That really could have gone the other way, I think. ByuL committed a little more to the natural base.
Yeah. Interesting game there by ByuL. Feels bad, man. You know, he executed his build fairly well. It was also very impressive that, again, it wasn't scouted until it was halfway across the map, but Hardwire is still a relatively long map. That's why I'm surprised that he tried to go for this. I've heard from a lot of pro players that a lot of the new maps in the map pool are pretty long, and Queen Walks are weakened because of that. It's, like, obviously the biggest one is like Pride of Altaris, but
yeah,
Hardwire as well.
Yeah, it was kind of intentional, honestly.
Mm.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah. So because of that, even though it didn't get scattered until it was, until it was halfway across the map, like, Zoun still had plenty of time to respond, get as much static defense as he could. He already had the forge ready for those cannons, and yeah, he just walled off, and he was solid.
Yeah, Hardwire may literally be Beckett, but it's not Beckett.
Shaking my head, Yaku, shaking my head.